that killed his mother, his father, and his little sister too. And Rider 1 and Rider 2 are like, nah man, don't, please don't, like this life sucks, like please don't do this, like you don't want to do this, let us take care of it. So they go off to go take care of this monster while V3 is all on his lonesome. And when they go to take care of Sister Jaguar, the monster that stabbed all of the family, another monster shows up called Kamen Bazooka, and he's just a giant turtle with a big cannon on his back. This dude launches hydrogen bombs. Yeah. So Rider 1 and 2 get hit with a hydrogen bomb and they die. Yeah, shocker, right? Anyways, so Shiro Kazami at the same time finds that Caesar's Jaguar monster, gets his butt torn apart, and at the same time, Rider 1 and 2 reveal themselves as being, they're back, but they're hurt, they're damaged, they definitely weren't getting away from the hydrogen bomb unscathed. I mean, it's a hydrogen bomb, I mean, come on. Anyways, so what they did was they decided to turn him into Kamen Rider V3. They took parts from their own bodies to turn him into a rider, so he has a belt known as the Double Typhoon, and he turns into Kamen Rider. Now, these statues, real quick. This gentleman right here in front of the statue, this is his actor. Now the cool thing about this guy is he's also been a couple of Sentai characters. He was Owl Ranger from Go Ranger, the first Blue Ranger, and he was also Kaiketsu Zubat. And ever since then, he's gone slowly kind of senile and crazy. So he dresses like V3, still thinks he's Zubat, and he shows up at places and he'll do V3 poses but say Zubat quotes. I mean, he's fun. So the statue on the left over here, this is actually back when the tsunami hit, the statue shifted and they lost the antennas, but the statue stayed the exact same. So it was kind of neat that all went down. But anyways, with V3 became super popular, and V3 was also the first one to introduce a secondary rider. Now this is Yuki Joji. He was a scientist for Destron, and he failed left and right. He kept trying to make new monsters to defeat V3, and V3 kept pushing him back. So eventually Destron's like, we're done with you. I hope you like acid, because we're going to drop you in that. So right as they're dropping him into acid, his right arm slowly starts to dip into it. His right arm slowly starts to dip into it. So he's starting to lose his right arm. At that same moment, Kamen Rider V3 comes busting through the walls, defeats all the monsters in the way, and pulls them out. And Yuki Joji's furious. He just got saved by the guy that he's been trying to defeat for all these years. Or all these months. And then, like, he just couldn't do it. And he was betrayed by the only people he's ever worked for that he felt like he had a purpose with. So he was like, alright, well, if I can't be friends with them and I can't be friends with these guys, I'm gonna fight them. I'm gonna fight all of them. So he takes his arm and he makes a cassette arm, which is like a prosthetic arm that can put cassettes in the bottom that transform it. So he becomes Rider Man. He's also the first rider, and as far as I know, the only rider to have an open mouth. So the other cool thing about Rider Man is he was kind of like an anti-hero when he first showed up. So when he first showed up, V3 wasn't cool with him. They had some moments. And they were like, hey man, I don't like you. And he's like, well, I don't like you either. I just want to fight Destron. And then V3's like, well, I want to fight Destron too. Hold on a second. And then they were bros. So they had some really great moments. Unfortunately, in the show, near the end, Rider Man sacrificed himself, saving Japan by jumping on a rocket, pulling it backwards, launching it into space, exploding. And V3 was like, it's true, you really were Kamen Rider 4. So if there's a Kamen Rider Yongo, it's Rider Man. So after Kamen Rider V3, they wanted to do another show, and they were like, let's do Kamen Rider V! Because he's the fifth one, right? Wait, crap, V3, we can't do that. X, because it's a V upside down. Yeah, let's do that. So X was supposed to be an underwater rider. He really wasn't supposed to be like modeled after a bug. With Ichigo, he's based on a locust, same thing with Nigo, and in V3 he was a dragonfly. This guy is just kind of bug looking. So he doesn't really have a major motif. But he was supposed to have an underwater theme, so this chest piece was supposed to resemble that of like a lung or like a life preserver. And he was supposed to fight monsters underwater, and they did a couple of first episodes where he fought underwater, and it was really cool. It was too damn expensive, so they stopped doing it. But he still had the propellers on his bike, and they kept spinning when he drove around, so that was cool. Now this is the one where I was going to tell you that this is where Kamen Rider started to get weird. It was trying to be serious, but was slowly becoming a parody of itself. Because it was hung out the heels of Kamen Rider Kamen Rider V3. X was kind of a joke, and everyone was like, we like V3 too much, why are we going to watch this? Well, the reason why they were watching it was because of the monsters. Oh, and because he's an idiot. He's not really an idiot. He's even popular. He's a pretty smart dude, but he had some pretty like, man, this is some bad show of writing. Anyways, so he had some great villains. This is Starfish Hitler. I swear, he is actually Starfish Hitler, and he...
Can I take a picture?
Go for it. Take photos if you guys want to. You're more than welcome to. Now, this isn't the only crazy villain. This is just only one of a couple. This is like my favorite from X. Fun fact, there's a guy that is in Kamen Rider Decade. He plays the character Noritaki. The only reason why he got the role is because he's a huge Kamen Rider fan, and he collects props that are usually either destroyed or falling apart, and he restores them and he puts them into his personal collection. This guy has Starfish Hitler in his living room. And it makes me happy that he's a Rider villain, because he loves hamming it up. So anyways, there's another great one, and he's actually hailing from America. There is Aunt Capone with the Great Lakes of Chicago on his chest. So if you think these are goofy, yes, they are goofy. The whole show is goofy, but Kamen Rider X is a trip. If you ever get a chance to check it out, I recommend it. It's fun. It's very funny. So now we're moving on to Kamen Rider Amazon. Now, I love Amazon, but Amazon is kind of a weird series. Now, it's the first rider to be a bio rider, a bio-organic rider. So instead of him being a cyborg or remodeled human, he is just straight up, he was in a plane with his parents when he was a baby. They got shot down, and he fell into the Amazon jungle, and they put, some indigenous people put a bracelet on his arm called the Gigi brace. So while he has a belt, he actually transforms with this thing on his arm right here. This thing right here is actually just like a rope and a couple other weapons for him. So when he grew up, he actually gained all the powers of a Gila lizard, and he's essentially a giant freaking Gila lizard. And he's got a movable mouth and teeth, and he doesn't speak Japanese at all at the beginning of the show. He just communicates with a bunch of kiki. And my favorite part about him is that when he does start to learn Japanese, his first word he learns is tomodachi, friends. So that's his thing. He likes to make friends, and he already knew how to say friends in his weird kiki language. And he would talk to some monsters. He'd be friends with this mole guy. He would do this thing where he takes his hand and he puts it like this, and he would walk up to the other person, do the same thing, and then cut it and go kiki. It's like, dude's nuts, just nuts. And when I say he's nuts, the dude's full of energy, so much so he likes to rip monsters apart on his great bike known as the Juggler. The Juggler is the first sentient bike, so it would come to him when he called for it, which is really neat. And sometimes it would say things, which was very bizarre. But yeah, he would rip guys apart, and he would use, most Kamen Riders use a move known as a Rider Kick to finish off monsters. B3 has a spinning kick and a bunch of different ones. Kamen Rider Nego actually has the Rider Punch as his signature move. But instead of having a Rider Kick, Amazon has the Daisetsudan, which is also known as the Big Cutter. And I love seeing it. There's some other clips where like he'll cut a guy and there'll be just tomato paste flying out of his face. Now, Amazon's is really, really short. It's only 24 episodes, and the reason why it was too brutal for kids and it was a little bit too bizarre. And it only lasted 24 episodes, and the saddest thing about it was the gentleman that played Daisuke in Amazon, he quit acting immediately after. He felt like it was his fault that Kamen Rider was failing and was being canceled and all this other stuff. So all he did was he became a fishing hermit, essentially. So until about 2012, he didn't know people cared about Kamen Rider Amazon at all. So now that he knows, he's in circulation again, he's meeting people that love the show, and it's like, nothing's cooler than seeing a guy that's like pushing in his 70s crying because he was in a TV show that people fucking love. It's swell. So, here's where things get really neat. We're going to jump to the future a little bit. Kamen Rider Amazon had a spin-off series. Now, it's not directly connected, but this is Kamen Rider Amazons. This is a series produced for Amazon Prime in Japan, and it features two Amazons. We have Amazon Alpha over here in the red, and Amazon Omega. Now, this series is only 13 episodes long. The second season is airing right now. I can't really recommend the second season as much as I could the first one, because the first one's really, really good, and we're only halfway through the second one, and I just want to strangle all the writers. But I will say the first 13 episodes of this series are awesome. It is one of the best Rider series I've seen. It combines the horror elements of what Kamen Rider was supposed to be, because back in the day, Kamen Rider was not just a kid show. It was very much a family show. They wanted it to be scary. They wanted your parents to talk to you about what was going on. They also wanted your parents to see what toys you wanted for Christmas. So, what they did with Amazons was they gave it much more of a horror feel and shooting style of Showa Kamen Rider, but with the effects and suits of Heisei Kamen Rider. So it is the best blend of both worlds. It's a shorter series, it's cool. You can find all of the first 13 episodes subbed by a group called Overtime. Just give them a search, check them out, they're the best. I love them a lot, except for they've been slightly becoming slow over time in the coming over the years. Anyways, so we're going to talk about how they have some similarities and differences. This guy right here, Omega, actually has a form without the belt that makes him look a lot like old school Amazon. Now, Alpha just looks like Amazon, just red, and I really don't want to talk about this show at all because it is just so darn good. Like, if I'm going to recommend one very early on, Amazons. The first 13 episodes are awesome. Now we're going to talk about season 2. Oh, wait, no. Remember how the old season was brutal? Old Amazon? Yeah, they brought that back too. That's an arm flowing up through the air. And let me tell you, this is the tamest clip I could use in the whole season to show you anything from the show. There's one clip I wanted to use where this guy in the green takes down this bat monster flying through the sky. He kicks him out of the air. The bat monster's like twitching on the ground, right? This dude comes flying out of the ground, lands next to him, stomps the helmet of the mask in, and green gum comes squishing out of it. And this is the first episode, mind you. I was not ready for this. I was expecting like another really fun, kiddie kind of Kamen Rider series, and I'm sitting there like, that happened?
You should have shown them the sphere.
Oh no, that's the thing. I don't want to show you all the great things from Amazon. This is by far the heinous thing I can show you. If you think this is brutal and goofy, watch the show. This is from a show, episode 3 called Colony of Ants. This is the first limb to fly off, first of hundreds. All right, we're gonna move right along to season 2. So here's season 2 of Kamen Rider Amazons. This is Kamen Rider Neo. He's much more of a cyborg kind of like rider. We haven't really been explained as to why he's like this, but we're getting there. And then this right here is Kamen Rider Crow. Or Crow Amazon. She's not really a rider per se, but she's an Amazon for sure. And like I said, she's also a female protagonist. It's very rare that Kamen Rider gets female protagonists, but in the last 4 or 5 years, they've been putting out a lot more, and it's awesome. Some of the suits they make for the ladies are choice. All right, so we're gonna move right along because Amazon's it's iffy. Oh yeah, so Alpha gets an upgrade, or Omega gets an upgrade. Alpha gets a downgrade. So you can tell the difference. So anyways, we're going to move along. We're going to talk about Kamen Rider Stronger. This is my favorite Kamen Rider of the Showa era. He is big, he is doofy, he is a football player that had a friend that worked for a company, or for a group known as Black Satan. Very similar to Shocker. When I tell you all these names of all these different organizations, just assume it's Shocker, because they all feed into each other at some point. I promise you that. So this dude, he had one of his best friends become a cyborg, and he died, and this guy was really upset about it. So he's like, hey, Black Satan, I hate the Earth and stuff, I don't want it to exist, and I hate governments. Can you make me one of those robot things you have? And they're like, oh, you actually want to do this? Well, here's a form, fill this out. What do you like? You like electricity? Maybe Kabuto beetles? So what they did was they turned this guy into a cyborg willingly. He willingly put himself out there. They removed his arms and they put Tesla coils there instead. So what he would do is he would take his hands, he would rub them together, he would explode.